It was intended to be Meghan's redemption story, a gentle makeover of the Duchess of Sussex's homey, wholesome persona. A message and a wooden spoon with the blessings of Her Royal Highness. Several sources claim that Netflix has officially shelved or quietly canceled Meghan Markle's highly anticipated lifestyle cooking show, even though the platform reportedly invested up to $20 million in its development. I'm just like you, but now that fantasy has gone up in smoke, zoom in here and it says, "How are you and are you okay?" This very nice of you, and I'm better than okay. How are you? That smile is a touch too big, and she has the one shoulder shrug, which usually means that someone isn't very sure of their response or statement. No apology, no announcement, not even an Instagram post saying goodbye, just silence. And behind that silence, there is alleged chaos. According to insiders, Meghan was caught completely off guard by the decision. She thought that this show, which was developed as a cozy fusion of food, family, and personal storytelling, would change her public image following her Spotify exit and the constant accusations of inauthenticity. Instead, it was allegedly pulled midstream, leaving her team in a panic, and Meghan herself, according to one source, devastated, blindsided, and furious. Some are even referring to it as a full-blown meltdown behind the scenes, with the help of HR, her crown. The Sussex Duchess, you produced your own strawberry jam. It's similar to a doctor when you keep calling them that. For example, call me Susan. I would never call myself Her Royal Highness, and the timing is terrible. After a series of optical mishaps, Netflix was meant to be her final stronghold in the market. The documentary series, the embarrassing podcast Backlash, no official footage or trailer has been released, just a thin trail of staged interviews, highly curated visuals, and vague promises that never came to pass. The lifestyle brand drama, this cooking show was marketed as the safe but relatable low-stakes brand friendly, but the implications are staggering if this project couldn't pass internal reviews. By the way, I love your look. I apologize. Are you Luke? You look fantastic, and she seems to like Luke. People are now wondering if there is a real show in the works, or if this is just a PR gimmick to stay relevant. In any case, the Duchess's brand took a serious hit, and if preliminary reports are accurate, Meghan's Netflix dream is no longer simmering on the stove. It has been turned off completely. What went wrong? Based on several sources around the production, not only did Netflix lose interest, but it also lost faith. Do you think you'll be married forever? Yes, I have a letter that says he's also a fox. The show, which was first billed as an honest and relatable look into Meghan's home life, reportedly fell apart the moment cameras began rolling. Executives who watched early footage reportedly described it as visually stunning but emotionally hollow. If you haven't noticed, my husband is really attractive, but what's even more lovely is his heart. Do you hear how high her voice was when she said, "Yes, yes, yes, yes"? Because when we're under stress, our larynx closes up a little bit and our voice tone gets a little bit higher. This is why the pitch of DS is so high. One insider even went so far as to say that it sounds like a perfume advertisement with cupcakes. Whoops, something's up here. The conclusion: from the start, Meghan felt that this wasn't your typical kitchen program because it was too staged and polished. According to reports, Meghan's take on home cooking featured a group of stylists, off-camera custom aprons emblazoned with her Duchess branding, and lighting arrangements so attractive that it appeared as though she was filming a beauty commercial rather than muffins. According to one source, nothing was purely impromptu. It wasn't simply the appearance that drew attention. Every ingredient was pre-styled, every camera angle was evaluated, and every garnish was approved. According to reports, Netflix anticipated something grounded with children racing around the frame. She's acting like she's crying, but there aren't any tears in sight. It's an actor's trick, so now make yourself cry. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. Harry stopping in for a taste test, a few burnt cookies, maybe even a real mess. And here's everything in every moment that I wanted to tell you how much I love you and how proud I am of you of all things. It's making me emotional. They were given a highly controlled setting where even the supposedly unscripted phrases had been practiced beforehand. Meghan was described as being fixated on optics, reportedly demanding retakes if her hair didn't fall just right or if her voice didn't sound soft enough in playback, And when the test audiences reacted, they didn't relate, they recoiled. What was supposed to feel personal ended up feeling painfully staged. Worse, it reinforced the very perception Meghan was trying to outrun, that she's incapable of being real, the very thing Netflix hoped to use to soften her image had done the opposite, and in a post. Spotify post backlash, media climate, that kind of flop isn't just embarrassing, it's expensive, which might explain why Netflix quietly and without ceremony is now pulling the plug. Let's be honest, this cooking show was never about the food. From the moment it was announced, it was clear that Meghan's project wasn't aiming for the messiness of a real home kitchen. There were no flour-covered toddlers, no overcooked casseroles, no chaotic dinner prep with barking dogs and mismatched bowls. I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about, and there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live. This was always going to be, according to production insiders, Meghan Markle's vision of relatable, stylized, serene, and suspiciously clean was locked down before the recipes were created. The look was supposed to include beige linens, hand-thrown ceramic dishes, pastel color palettes, herb bundles hanging from carefully curated racks, and even custom-designed cutting boards. One person who reportedly worked on the shoot joked that the food was there to serve the lighting, not the other way around. It looked like a fashion shoot with a measuring cup, and it felt like a commercial. Meghan's on-screen presence, according to sources, was anything but relaxed. She wanted to appear maternal without being messy. It was like watching someone perform motherhood and domesticity, not actually live it, recalled one crew member. Every moment was staged, every joke was perfectly timed, and every interaction with Harry or the children was purposefully framed to feel natural. However, it wasn't until after several takes that she allegedly decided she didn't want to be a real princess, because being a real princess involves duty and responsibility and caring about other people. Instead, she decided she wanted to be a pretend princess in Hollywood, so she broke her husband off from his royal family and signed a multi-million-dollar deal with a number of media companies. After all of her projects failed, one episode's script featured her reading handwritten notes about her grandmother's recipe, but when she began filming, she allegedly requested that the handwriting be changed to a more photogenic script. Another scene that was going to see Meghan and Archie preparing a quick breakfast was swapped out for a morning routine that involved pouring oat milk into artisanal mugs and arranging dried flowers. It was a lifestyle ad campaign rather than a cookery show, and Netflix, which is already struggling with poor Sussex content and audience weariness, apparently decided they couldn't sell another fiction masquerading as realism behind the scenes. After all, this wasn't just another project. This was meant to be the one where the soft, focused, barefaced camera was ready to win back the public's favor. According to sources, Meghan didn't just take the cancellation hard. She took it personally. A chance to shed the challenging Duchess image and transform into something completely warm, grounded, and likable. But one source with connections to the production claims that rather than making a comeback, she has been left to pick up the pieces of a production that never connected and a message that never landed. Meghan reacted emotionally and unfilteredly when Netflix made the decision, and when I was reviewing her website in real time for my video, it said coming soon. However, about 5 minutes later, we saw that she had sold out. She believed that this would be the project that silenced the cynics, and she didn't anticipate that they would end it this quietly or without a fight. Another insider stated that there was obvious shock from her camp, with one advisor allegedly attempting to portray it as a pause rather than a complete cancellation. However, internally, most people seem to agree that this wasn't a delay, but rather a retreat. What's more concerning is that this wasn't a heavy documentary or explosive tell. All it was cooking, harmlessly safe. What does that say about the rest of Meghan's content slate? And more importantly, how do you reframe that kind of failure when the entire premise was just be yourself? Meghan has reportedly always been heavily involved in the optics of every project she touches, from wardrobe to lighting to camera angles. She's reportedly hands-on to the point where some producers find it stifling. She wants control over the vulnerability. One person said she wants to appear authentic, but only if she can curate what that looks like, and that's the paradox that may have finally caught up with her, because in trying so hard to control her image, she may have exposed the very thing audiences and executives are tired of: the performance, This isn't just about a single canceled show anymore. It's about a pattern, a string of flops, misfires, and image-first projects that have left Netflix execs reportedly wondering if Meghan Markle is more liability than asset. Meghan Markle, the only thing she found was a rich, famous husband. The nearest thing Meghan Markle ever had to a billion-dollar idea was marrying a prince. It was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it. The streaming giant once touted their multi-year deal with the Sussexes as a groundbreaking partnership, a coup that would bring prestige, exclusivity, and a flood of compelling content. But now, nearly 4 years later, the enthusiasm has curdled into caution. Let's take stock. The Harry and Meghan documentary series received harsh criticism for its tone, editing, and reiteration of complaints that had previously been broadcast elsewhere, even though it shattered initial viewership records. According to reports, Meghan's culinary show, the simplest, safest, and most audience-friendly endeavor she could have headed, has been discreetly and permanently shelved when the Spotify contract ended publicly and without a thank you note. According to insiders, Netflix's attitude has changed. Initially, everything they proposed was enthusiastically accepted, one executive reportedly told a British outlet, but now there is hesitancy and examination. Another Netflix source claimed that terms like brand fatigue, low engagement, and PR over substance were frequently used in company meetings. Translation: despite her fame, Meghan isn't clicking, and let's not forget about the money. According to reports, officials are now examining all Sussex-related initiatives with a sharper focus. The Sussex agreement was reputedly valued over $00 million, but other from one blockbuster documentary series and a few development rumors, there has been virtually little return. What's happening next? The cooking show may have been the first public casualty, but it probably won't be the last, because no amount of Duchess branding can save the bottom line when you're spending more than you're delivering, and the buzz surrounding your name is turning into more eye roll than red carpet. A small, somewhat grainy image of a basket filled with homemade preserves and a card with the Duchess of Sussex's name appeared 40 minutes into the podcast.